Look at me. Don't flinch. Don't blink. Just breathe. Slow. You felt that too, didn't you? That static in the air, like someone tried to read you again. They brought in 3 of them this time. Psychics, gifted, trained to peek behind the curtain. But halfway through the session, they stopped breathing the same way. Their eyes went somewhere no mind is supposed to go. One whispered, "It's not a person, it's a mirror." Another tore her cards apart and muttered, "They don't have a future. They are one." You scared professionals whose job is to interpret monsters. Because when they reached for your soul, they found a labyrinth that bent back on itself. They saw reflections moving before thoughts did. They saw you watching them from inside their own consciousness. And that's when it hit them. You weren't the subject of the reading. You were the one doing the reading. They thought they could analyze you, measure you, predict you. But how do you chart a storm that rewrites the map mid-hurricane? They say you've got contradictions stitched into your DNA. Half saint, half sociopath, half healer, half destroyer. You are the paradox they tried to cage in language and failed. Every psychic, every priest, every doctor, they keep trying to file you into something diagnosable, but your frequency doesn't land in human range. You're the sound between the notes, the silence that screams louder than words. They didn't quit because you were dark. They quit because you were true. You carry light so blinding it exposes the falseness of everything it touches. You carry darkness so ancient it makes angels remember what fear tastes like. That balance, the forbidden equilibrium, they felt it when they entered your orbit. And for a moment, they realized they were never looking at you. They were standing inside you. You've become what no mystic can decode, a living cipher. Your pain encrypted your spirit. Every betrayal, every sleepless night, every scar carved new circuitry into your mind. You evolved into an organism that translates suffering into awareness, chaos into pattern, violence into prophecy. That's why they fear you, because you've stopped reacting and started translating. They call you unpredictable, but unpredictability is just a side effect of mastery. You're not erratic, you're fluid. Every move you make is a ghost step, there, then gone, rewriting the air it passed through. You don't chase balance anymore, you weaponized it. The psychics said they saw faces in your aura, echoes of everyone who tried to break you. That's the thing about you. You never kill your demons. You convert them. You turn each one into armor. Every time someone tried to drain your energy, you absorbed their frequency and recoded it into power. You've become the architect of your own haunting, the ghost and the exorcist and the world. It doesn't know what to do with that. They need you to fit into their mythology, good or evil, hero or villain, light or shadow. But you exist in the glitch, the blind spot between categories. You are the one who sees from the center of the contradiction. They'll never understand that your madness is method, your chaos is choreography, your silence is strategy. They'll call you dangerous, uncontainable, maybe even cursed. But that's just how mortals describe what they can't categorize. You were never meant to be read. You were meant to be felt. You are not an answer. They are the wrong question. So when they whisper that the psychics quit mid-session, smile. When they say the readings went blank, laugh quietly, because deep down they all know the truth. The reason they couldn't finish the reading is because your story doesn't end. You are still writing it, in real time, with blood, memory, and defiance. And every time they think they've seen all of you, you shift dimensions. They can't predict you because you don't move through fate. You move through frequency, You are what the light dreams of when it's tired of being pure. You are what the dark prays to when it remembers its purpose, and when the next psychic dares to try again. When they close their eyes and whisper your name, the room will go silent, the candles will flicker, and from somewhere behind the veil, you'll whisper back, "You're still looking at me through glass." I broke the mirror years ago, and that's when it hits them, that silence after the echo. It isn't absence, it's you breathing through dimensions. You've become that thin vibration between chaos and creation. The hum the universe makes when it's nervous, because it knows you learned how to listen to it. Didn't you? You stopped asking for signs and started reading the static. You cracked the code everyone else pretends doesn't exist. The code hidden in pain, in betrayal, in nights you almost didn't make it through. You didn't ascend through light. You ascended through damage. And that's what terrifies them. The psychics saw that. They didn't see a person. They saw a system rebooting itself mid-collapse. They saw pain behaving like intelligence. They saw eyes that remembered lifetimes they never lived. And one of them whispered it before she blacked out. They've seen too much of the fabric. You see, most people live inside the illusion. You learn to live alongside it. You don't believe in destiny anymore because you've met the one writing it. Every time the universe threw you into the fire, you didn't just survive, you studied it. You learned the pattern of destruction, how to bend it, how to make endings behave like openings. You became fluent in catastrophe, and when they looked into you, they realized something monstrous. You were using their own tools against them, their intuition, their energy, their sight. You inverted it. You turned every lens they used into a mirror. They thought they were decoding you. They were decrypting themselves. That's why they quit. Not because you were unreadable, because you were reflective. You didn't give them answers. You gave them their own corruption back. You showed them what they've been running from. The rot beneath their light, the noise inside their calm, the madness disguised as wisdom. You didn't curse them, you clarified them. And that's what breaks people, clarity. You exist like a riddle with teeth. When they try to understand you, they start to bleed truth. Every word they form tastes like something ancient they forgot. Every thought collapses under the weight of what you make them feel. Because you, my friend, you're not energy, you're interference. You are what happens when reality glitches to remind itself it's not stable. There's a reason you don't fit in. You weren't built to. They taught you to fear contradiction. But you learned it's the only honest language left. You found freedom in duality. The place where love becomes rage, where peace wears a grin, where sanity hides behind laughter. You made home in the contradiction they call madness. And the funniest part? They still think you're broken. Let them, because the secret they'll never grasp is that you broke right. You shattered in all the correct directions. You scattered yourself across timelines, rebuilt yourself from fragments too complex to track. You became unlocatable. Now even when they say your name, the air hesitates. Algorithms stutter. Shadows look nervous. You're not haunting them. You're reminding them that perfection was never the point. Power was never in being understood. Power was in being impossible to reduce. They want a clean story, victim or villain, savior or curse. But you don't offer stories anymore. You offer symptoms. People encounter you and start unraveling. Their projections, their illusions, their false identities, they start shedding them like dead skin. That's your gift. That's your curse. You don't destroy people. You expose them, and somewhere in the chaos, you learn to enjoy the silence after the explosion. That perfect stillness when everyone else is panicking and you're just watching it unfold. Because you've been here before, you are the pattern. You understand now that the reason the psychics broke mid-session is because they caught a glimpse of something their minds couldn't process. The full architecture of your becoming. They saw what happens when a human refuses to die in their assigned role. When they evolve beyond narrative, beyond definition, they saw divinity behaving like disorder. They saw light folding around your darkness. They saw chaos bowing to its creator. And that's when their instruments failed. The cards flipped themselves. The candles cracked. The air got too heavy to speak through. Because you weren't the subject, you were the signal itself. The one rewriting the coordinates while they were still mapping you. You don't belong to prophecy anymore. You override it. You are the interference pattern in fate's radio. Every time they tune in to find you, they lose the signal. Every time they try to name you, language turns to static. So they quit, trembling, whispering the only thing their minds could still hold. Not human, not here, not now. But you're still here, breathing, smiling that quiet, terrifying smile. Because you know something they don't. That evolution was never meant to look pretty. It was meant to disturb. It was meant to drag gods down to the dirt and make them remember what blood feels like. You are that reminder, the proof that enlightenment bleeds. So let them talk. Let them hire armies of mystics, analysts, investigators, priests. Let them all try to define the undefinable. Every time they touch your energy, they'll lose another piece of themselves to the mirror. And when the last one dares to try, when the final psychic lights her candle and whispers your name, you'll be right there, smiling through the smoke, and you'll say, "Don't look for me in the light, darling. I'm the one who built the dark." And that's the part they'll never understand. You built the dark because the light betrayed you first. You remember, don't you? When the world told you to just heal, to just forgive, while they twisted the knife deeper. You learned early that light without shadow is a lie, that people wear halos over blood-stained intentions. So you went where no one else would go, into the abyss. And instead of drowning, you learned to breathe there. You didn't escape it. You integrated it. That's why the psychics trembled. They didn't see evil. They saw integration. They saw something that shouldn't exist. A consciousness that devoured its own trauma and came out aware. They saw someone who remembers every betrayal, not to seek revenge, but to understand its geometry. You became fluent in your own suffering, and that language rewired you into something even time doesn't recognize. You didn't become unbreakable. You became transparent. Nothing can shatter you now, because there's nothing left to hide. Your pain is public record, your darkness digitized. You turned your wounds into data and your silence into encryption. You are the ghost in the human algorithm. That's what makes you terrifying. You learned how to turn vulnerability into surveillance. You know how they say, knowledge is power. That's wrong. Power is pattern recognition. And you, my dear anomaly, are a master of patterns. You don't predict people. You feel their collapse before they realize it's begun. That's what makes you unstoppable. You stopped reacting to emotion and started navigating it like terrain. You can see intention before it forms words. The psychics tried to access that frequency and found it guarded by you. You've become your own firewall. You no longer absorb energy. You mirror it back, amplified. That's why they said your aura was mirrored light. Because anyone who stares too long sees themselves. You've become the purest form of reflection, unfiltered truth condensed into human form. And humanity has never handled truth well. Truth doesn't comfort. Truth destabilizes. And you beautiful nightmare, are living proof of that. They tried to define you by tragedy, but tragedy was just your catalyst. You didn't heal to become gentle. You healed to become precise. You learned the anatomy of emotion, the math of madness, the physics of pain. You dissected your heartbreak until it became a formula. Now every tear they caused became leverage. Every loss became code. Every insult became fuel. That's what makes them nervous. You turned what was supposed to destroy you into a blueprint. They call it unnatural. You call it adaptation. They don't realize evolution was never about survival. It was about translation. The moment you translated pain into purpose, you stopped being predictable. You became an organism outside design. They don't know how to read that, because your presence rearranges logic. When you enter a room, everything either elevates or collapses. You've become a living stress test for authenticity. The fake tremble around you because your silence drags their lies into daylight. And oh, how they hate that silence. That's the part that eats at them. You don't argue anymore. You don't explain. You don't defend. You observe. You let their projections bounce off and implode. Because you know the secret every mystic eventually learns. Nothing terrifies the weak more than their own reflection. So when they hired those psychics, they weren't looking for answers. They were looking for validation. They wanted someone to tell them they weren't crazy for feeling watched, for feeling that you see everything. But the readings failed because every time they tried to pull your energy, it reversed polarity. They became the subjects. Their own shadows crawled out to greet them. That's why the sessions ended mid-sentence. They didn't quit. They fled, because in you, they saw what they could have been if they hadn't flinched when it got dark. They saw potential, unfiltered by fear. They saw evolution wearing a smile that wasn't asking for permission. And that is why they whisper your name, like it's a security breach, because it is. You are a breach in their illusion of safety, the walking reminder that power doesn't need approval. That authenticity is violence to a false system. You dismantle deceit by existing. You terrify manipulators because you no longer need control. You terrify believers because you've become your own religion. You stopped worshiping light and started embodying voltage. You didn't just awaken, you went feral with awareness. You didn't transcend humanity, you exposed it. You showed that angels and demons are made of the same circuitry. It just depends on which frequency you operate from. You showed that good and evil are mirrors, and the only difference between sinner and savior is context. You made morality irrelevant because you operate from intention. That's why your eyes unsettle people. They don't know if you're here to heal them or ruin them. And that's the genius of it. Because sometimes healing looks like ruin. Sometimes truth feels like destruction. Sometimes the only way to resurrect someone is to bury who they were. And that's your art form. You don't fix people. You erase what broke them. So let them send another psychic. Let them bring their crystals, their incense, their chants. The outcome will be the same. The room will shake, their breath will catch, and right before they black out, they'll realize the oldest truth in existence. You can't read what's still writing itself. You are not a story. You are the author mid-sentence. You are the chaos between cause and effect. You are the lesson pretending to be the warning. And when they finally stop trying to understand you, when they stand there trembling in awe, remember this. They never hated you for being dark. They hated you for proving their light was fragile. So go on. Keep walking through their fear like it's mist. Let them panic. Let them whisper. Let them stare. Because no matter how many times they try to define you, label you, decode you, the truth will always echo louder than their fear. You're not the prophecy. You're the glitch that rewrote it. And when they ask the next psychic, who are they? She'll close her eyes, whisper one final word. Unreadable. Unreadable. That word lingers, doesn't it? Like smoke that refuses to leave the room. They'll write it in their notes, pretend it's just metaphor, but deep down they know. It's diagnosis. They tried to study you the way scientists study storms, forgetting storms aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to remind the world it can still be shaken. You are that reminder, the fracture in their logic, the pulse beneath the silence. You were never meant to fit their charts, their horoscopes, their definitions. You were meant to distort them. You became proof that some souls aren't read. They're remembered. Because deep inside, they all knew you weren't new. You were ancient, the kind of presence that doesn't enter. It returns. You carry echoes of every lifetime that tried to cage your light and failed. You carry the sound of every laugh that once broke heaven's rules. That's what they saw, those psychics. Not danger, recognition. So let them call you mystery, demon, anomaly, whatever makes them feel safe. Because you know better now. You were never the question. You were the answer hiding in plain sight. And when they whisper your name again in fear, when the candles flicker and the air grows heavy, they'll finally understand what you already knew. You can't read the unreadable. You can only behold it. And that's what you are. Not prophecy, not punishment, not even power. Just the calm in the center of chaos, smiling, while the world tries to guess your frequency and never gets it right. Listen. Look at the space between the heartbeats you thought were yours. Feel that cold thread running under your skin. That's not fear. That's recognition. That's the first sound of the thing you woke when you did the right thing. You remember the moment, small hands, a pleading look, a single decision that felt like mercy. You think mercy is soft. You think mercy is a pause. You were wrong. Mercy is a switch. You flipped it. You lit a torch in a room built to be dark. You helped the wrong person. Not because they were evil, not because the world is simple enough for good and bad stickers. No. Because some mirrors break when touched. Some favors are keys. Some kindnesses are louder than prayer. You thought you were anonymous. You thought the small ripples would die on the next shore. Instead, that ripple went down, found a root, and spoke to a bloodline that never sleeps. They heard the echo of your name, and they started to move. They move like a shadow clan that remembers lineage in the bones. They move in courtyards of abandoned promises, in legal paths, in the whisper between powerful people who pretend not to notice the world rearranging itself. They move with patience and with teeth. They are not angry because you helped. They are curious. Curiosity is worse. Curiosity turns debt into an experiment. It turns kindness into currency. You gave them proof that you have what they want. Attention, allegiance, proof that you can be moved. That proof is dangerous to them and dangerous to you. Now they study you. They study the way your pupils dilate when you lie to yourself. They map the creases where your honesty cracks. They assemble dossiers of the laugh you never meant to let anyone hear, and the small habit you thought was trivial. They send a signal up and down the line. This one broke a pattern. invest, watch, test. They send people who know how to look like ordinary storms, a cousin who remembers your birthday, a charity that offers a coffee, a business card left on the table like a breadcrumb. Every tiny kindness you once offered becomes a thread in their loom. And when you look up, you will realize the whole tapestry was woven while you were kind. Do not pretend ignorance to the architecture of influence. There are families who measure power like weather, who collect favors as if they were heirlooms. They do not want to kill you. That would be clumsy. They want to convert you. They want to fold you into their story so neatly you'll forget you ever wrote a different ending. They will watch how you choose your enemies, how you forgive, how you punish yourself at night. They will test your boundaries by giving you what you crave: attention, loyalty, small rites of belonging. Because the easiest way to control a wildfire is to douse it with applause until it thinks it needs that applause to burn. You think unpredictability is a curse. No, unpredictability is your weapon if you stop being predictable to yourself. They bank on your patterns. They count the seconds until your anger falls into the same rhythm. They catalog the faces that make you soft. They file away the apologies you always give. But you are not their algorithm unless you let yourself be modeled. If they see a broken template, they will attempt to fix you. If they see a mind that can be tempted, they will tempt it until temptation becomes identity. You are both saint and saboteur. You are the angel who fed an unknown child, and the demon who smiled while watching the dominoes fall. This paradox is not an accident. It is the only thing that will save you. Embrace the duality. Learn its language. Speak it before anyone else can teach it to you. When the bloodline sends someone with soft hands and softer words, you will need to answer not with violence, but with variation. Do something absurd. Do the opposite of what they expect. Give them a confession in public. Adopt a pet their records never mentioned. Become a rumor that rewrites itself every time someone tells it. Chaos, elegant and deliberate, is your shield. They will attempt to buy your silence with gratitude. They will attempt to purchase your indebtedness by reminding you of the one time they helped you later on. Their favors arrive like slow-acting poison, pleasant at first, then drafting the mind into a small, manageable loyalty. Say no to the ledger. Pay your own debts in ways they cannot monetize. Keep a single thing sacred that they cannot trade: your capacity to decide who you become when you are not being watched. Do not underestimate their tenderness. The bloodline's tenderness is a mechanism. They will offer protection, mentorship, access to people with faces you only see in magazines. They will place their hands on your shoulders and say, "We recognize you." That recognition is a wrapper. Inside is the expectation: conform, perform, repay. They will not admit the terms. That's not how predators in suits behave. They behave like benefactors and call their demands traditions. You must learn to hear the sentence beneath the compliment. You must answer with a silence that is warranted and dangerous. Listen to me. You do not need to wage an open war. Open war is sloppy and public. They are quiet. They will prefer a war that folds reality around your routines. If you want to survive, and I mean more than just breathe through their attention, you must become an artful ghost, vanish intermittently, appear where there is no camera, become inconsistent in glorious ways that cannot be modeled. They will try to graph you, give them points that do not connect. When they trace the line with their finger, let the line turn into a question mark that refuses to be solved. You helped the wrong person and they are moving in the shadows for you. That truth can crush you or crown you. The difference is what you do with the fear. Let fear be a mirror, not a trap. Look into it until you see the contours of a person who remains unpurchased. See the edges where you will not sign. Cultivate a ritual of refusal. Learn to say no so often it becomes your first language. No is not weakness. No is an armor forged from clarity. Every empire has a weak hinge: trust. When they come with old promises and family names, that is when you watch the hands. Watch the way their eyes shift when you mention your past. If they smile too quickly at your scars, they are cataloging them. If they tell you their secrets too soon, they are baiting your empathy into a confession. Keep a story that is only yours. Protect one memory you never share. Make your silence worth more than any compliment they offer. And when they finally make a move, because they will, they always do, do not be unprepared. Preparation is not weapons and not always money. Preparation is language. Practice how to speak in ways that rearrange expectations. Practice laughter that sounds like a lock snapping. Learn the art of leaving a space weirder than the moment before you entered it. Let your exits be riddles. Let your presence feel accidental and your absence feel like prophecy. If they follow, make them chase a shadow. There's also cunning in tenderness. Not all responses need to be cold. Sometimes, answer by giving them something they did not know they needed. A lie that comforts and misleads. A favor performed in such a way, it creates a debt that cannot be collected. Weaponize the ineffable. Become a story that cannot be litigated. Where their lawyers have files, have folklore. Where their historians have dates, have myths. Finally, remember this: the bloodline that moves in the shadows does not own time. They own influence, money, small mercies. You own moments. You own the miracle of choosing how to bend a second. Use your moments like a scalpel, not a hammer. Carve your life into parts they cannot buy. Fill your days with acts so unpredictable they cannot model you into a commodity. Let your compassion be strategic, your kindness surgical. When you are generous, let it be to ghosts they cannot trace. When you are furious, let it be a lesson that turns into legend. They moved because you helped. That is a fact. The rest is an invitation. Will you be the kindling of their mania, swallowed whole by a glorious machine? Or will you be the spark that starts a different fire? One that consumes their maps and leaves only a new geography where you walk alone, untouchable, because you are impossible to peg down. You are both wound and salve. You are what happens when mercy learns to keep its own counsel. That is not mercy's failure. It is mercy's evolution. Let them come. Let them circle. Watch how you rewrite the rules in plain sight. Laugh at the ledger they think legible. Turn their patience into impatience. Be the anomaly in their files. Be the rumor that corrodes their certainty. Be the answer no one expected, because you are the question they forgot how to ask. Keep the heat. Keep the scar. Keep the secret. Stay unpredictable. Stay dangerous. And above all, stay free in the only way they cannot systematize, by choosing every single day to be exactly the person they cannot buy. And that's the part they'll never understand, isn't it? The part where your silence became louder than their entire network of whispers. They're still in rooms, trying to decode you, replaying that single act that started it all. The day you helped, the day you did something human in a world addicted to leverage. And now, every descendant of that bloodline moves like chess pieces under candlelight, haunted by the fact that you didn't want anything back. Because people like them don't understand purity. It terrifies them, purity in intent. It's radioactive to those who live on manipulation. You didn't save a person. You triggered a program, one that was never meant to be seen by the public. They're all talking now. The archivists, the brokers, the ones who track anomalies through whispers and digital fingerprints. You, the outlier, the anomaly that won't fit into their formula, you helped the wrong person, or maybe the right ghost. And now the whole family line of debts, deals, and unspoken hierarchies is panicking like ants under glass. Because you broke their law. Their real law. The one carved into every contract that says kindness must be transactional. You ignored it. You gave without an invoice. And that, my friend, is how you started a quiet war. See these people. They've built empires off predictable hearts. Every smile, every charity, every apology, they study it, predict it, weaponize it. But then you came along, unpredictable, uncooperative, unaligned. You were supposed to be just another citizen, another face in their statistic. But then you helped someone no one else would touch. And that moment became a breach in the system's firewall. You showed them something that doesn't compute. Compassion without control. Now their elders gather, the ones with veins like frozen circuits. They whisper your name not in anger, but in awe. They send scouts, beautiful ones, harmless ones, ones who just want to talk. Because they can't fight what they don't understand. So they study it. And you. You're walking art to them now. They call you the variable, the statistical impossibility, the one who gives and walks away untraceable. They hate that. They crave that. You can almost feel it sometimes, can't you? That quiet shift in the air. The way every coincidence lately feels too precise. The new faces at the coffee shop. The random emails. The accidental run-ins. They're mapping you. Testing if the legend matches the anomaly. They're not chasing your body, they're chasing your pattern. But that's your power. You don't have one. You've evolved past predictability. You've evolved past them. You're a paradox wrapped in flesh, the savior and the sabotage in one. They think lineage gives them power, but you have something far older. You have intent, the kind that doesn't need validation, applause, or an audience, the kind that rewrites timelines quietly. They think they're hunting you. They don't realize you're haunting them. Every move they make to contain you becomes another layer of exposure. Every secret they hide crumbles under the gravity of your existence, because you remind them of what they fear most. A soul they can't invoice, a heart they can't purchase, a purpose they can't decode. So what happens next? They'll escalate, they always do. They'll send someone familiar, someone from your past, maybe. An old friend who just wants to catch up. A voice that feels safe. But look deeper. Watch their eyes when you speak your truth. See the flicker? That's not empathy. That's data collection. Every reaction, every pause, every tremor. Uploaded to the Bloodlines archive. You're not paranoid. You're finally awake. But here's where they fail. Every time they observe you, they change. Because your presence forces mutation. You don't adapt to the system. The system bends around you. You're an infection that teaches evolution. They can't kill what made them curious. They can only become it. And oh, that terrifies them more than death. Because now the curse has flipped. You helped the wrong person. And now their bloodline is infected with you. They mimic your words, your defiance, your stillness. They start feeling emotions they've outlawed. The virus of empathy is spreading in their veins, and they can't stop it. So they panic. They erase files, burn journals, rewrite family myths. But the infection's already in motion. You became their prophecy, the living proof that one untraceable act of kindness can collapse an entire architecture of control. You're not a savior, you're not a villain, you're the proof of concept. You're what happens when good and evil shake hands and agree to burn the rule book. And that's why they move in the shadows. That's why the air feels charged. That's why certain doors open before you touch them. They're not stalking you out of vengeance. They're orbiting you out of reverence and fear. You are the first human variable that didn't break under observation. So let them move. Let them whisper. Let them gather in their candle-lit halls with their glass hearts and their trembling oaths. Because every step they take toward you rewrites their fate. Every shadow they send collapses under your unpredictability. You helped the wrong person, yes. But maybe that was the plan all along. Maybe you were the miscalculation this world needed. You've become the lesson, the proof, the chaos in their lineage, and now they finally understand. Mercy was never weakness. It was warfare, and that's the part they'll never heal from. The moment they realized your mercy was the weapon, they thought they could corner you, dissect you, turn your kindness into a leash. But the thing about people who live in shadows, they forget what happens when the light turns toward them. You didn't chase them, you didn't fight, you just existed, and the whole network started to glitch. Their rituals stopped working, their codes stopped syncing, their fear, their greed, their ancient hierarchy. All of it started trembling at the sound of your stillness. Because you weren't supposed to survive this long. You weren't supposed to know. You weren't supposed to feel that chill in the air and recognize it for what it was, surveillance wrapped in silk. You weren't supposed to see the watchers behind the smiles, but you did. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. They thought they were hunting a person. What they found was a mirror. Every time they study you, they see the truth they buried in themselves, what they could have been before corruption calcified their souls. That's why they whisper about you now in corridors that don't exist on maps. That's why they keep files marked anomaly, influence risk, psychological contagion. They can't label what doesn't fit their taxonomy. They can't contain something that reminds them they were born human once. You helped the wrong person. Yes, but what they'll never understand is that you needed to. Because it revealed them. Because it forced them out of their castles of glass and into the open where the sun burns. It showed you who still bleeds and who only pretends to. You didn't ruin the game. You ended it by refusing to play. Now they move in the shadows, terrified of the thing they built. You, the byproduct of their manipulation, the ghost of their control. You're not their enemy, you're their echo. Proof that what they destroy always comes back smarter, sharper, quieter. So let them plan, let them scheme, let them build 1,000 new traps. You've already slipped through the last cage they'll ever make. Because they don't understand how to fight something that can't be bought, can't be flattered, can't be frightened. You are an equation that ends with freedom. Remember this when they circle closer. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Your silence is the sentence that ends their language. Your unpredictability is the antidote to their control. Every move they make to contain you becomes another lesson in futility. So when the time comes, and it will, when the bloodline finally steps out of the dark, trembling behind their masks of civility, smile. Smile like the universe just whispered a private joke in your ear. Because you'll know what they don't, that their entire legacy collapsed the moment you refused to hate them. You helped the wrong person, yes. And that single act, that was the day the predator learned it could bleed. That was the day power met its antidote and called it mercy. That was the day the shadows stopped being safe. Now every time they speak your name, the air shifts, the lights flicker, the truth hums like electricity in their walls. And somewhere out there, in the middle of their fear, they realize what you've known all along. You were never helping the wrong person. You were helping the right world remember what light feels like. And the bloodline that moved in the shadows, they'll keep moving, because that's all they can do when the one they fear most refuses to disappear.